Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about the Joola MOD TA-15 14mm paddle. I got the chance to play with it a bunch today, so be able to give you some honest feedback on how I like the paddle, what I liked, what I didn't like about the paddle, and whether or not I think it would fit your game. So let's start off with the Dinks. As you can see, just kind of a warm up here, but thinking around with my dad, a lot of my Dinks tend to go a little deeper here. I think I'm just not having as much control as my 16mm TA-15. So I also don't have any lead weight on this paddle, by the way. So this is a stock paddle. For those of you that know me, I tend to put a lot more weight on these paddles, but I wanted to make sure I give an honest review of this paddle without any lead weight on it. So right now you see a lot of my Dinks tend to push on the back half of the kitchen, which is for those players that really like those more aggressive push Dinks. This is definitely the paddle for you. I definitely felt like I struggled a little more, especially when they jammed my feet up. And definitely on those kind of more dead Dinks, I was struggling quite a bit. But it's also possible because it was kind of windy outside today while we were practicing with this paddle. Overall, I actually really enjoyed using this paddle. It really fits my aggressive play style. For those that have really good footwork and, again, play that aggressive style, this is definitely a paddle I'd recommend for you if you like to control the net. So here I did some cross-court dinks with my dad. As you can see, still pretty aggressive with my push dinks here. Still kind of playing around trying to get that dead dink going. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, the dead dink is more of the shorter dink, more of a defensive dink, and the push dink is more of the ones where I'm pushing my opponent further back, whether I'm aiming towards the kitchen line or even in the blue. So definitely rewards those aggressive players a lot more. Here we have some drops and resets. As you can see, it was a little windy, so we were kind of adjusting as we went. So I think later on in the clips they actually get a little better with the drops. But initially, I felt like the backhand was pretty crisp. The forehand, I felt like it was going a little high. Could be a little more power off this paddle. So I'm getting more impact on those forehand drops. But honestly, the backhand felt really crisp overall. The forehand, I think it's just a matter of controlling that wind a little bit more. And once I kind of got a hold of it, you can see here they started getting more aggressive with how they were dropping. Not as high, not allowing my opponent to kind of punch them out the air. So overall, it was a fairly good paddle to reset with. I still prefer my 16mm more, just because I feel like I have a lot more control overall with that side of it. But once you get up to the net, it's really just day and night. I'm able to punch that ball and get it to land where I want it to go. So in terms of setting up the ball with the resets and drops, it's not my favorite. But once I'm up there, I'm able to really play my offensive game, and that's where I really see this paddle start to shine a lot more. So here we have some forehands and backhand drives. You can see the forehand side was going a little high at first. Again, just adjusting to that ball. These are my first hits I had. But once I started to get it going, they were able to be really offensive, pushing my opponent further back. I'm able to punch that ball, kind of keep it lower so that they had to either hit it high or hit it short to me, allowing me to come in the court a lot easier. Even force some unforced errors that were kind of surprising. So even on the backhand, jamming up my opponent pretty well. Again, just keeping it low, keeping it towards their body, not allowing them to do anything with that ball. Forehand, here I start to kind of tone it in and able to punch it just over the net, force them to hit a high ball, or even force it into the net. So overall, really enjoy the ground stroke side of it. Feels kind of like a tennis racket, to be honest, for those of you that play tennis. So if you like that kind of play style where you like to hog this baseline, this is a really good paddle to look into. So here we'll talk about some returns I hit. Honestly, super surprised how well this paddle returned. I was able to really set up my offense right away, make my way up to the net. We're just playing some singles here, kind of just messing around with some returns. But so you can see a lot of these returns, I'm able to really push deep, push my opponent back, and force them to hit me a short ball, which has allowed me to control this court from the start, which I was very, very surprised I was able to do that. I feel like with my 16, I have to play a little more tactical and kind of hit the softer return. But with this 14, I'm able to just really punch through the court and kind of surprise my opponent by how fast this ball is coming over. Even outdoor, where I feel like the ball is usually a little slower, I was still able to do that, and I was able to just punch a lot of these balls cross court with a short angle, pull my opponent off the court pretty well. So I really enjoy it. For those players that like to just move your opponents around and kind of toy with them a little more, this is a great paddle to add into your inventory. I mean, just look at some of these returns I'm hitting. Keeping it low, keeping it deep, and just kind of forcing them to hit a crazy good shot, or they're going to end up giving me all these points. So here we'll be serving. I felt like with my serves, I was able to really hit a lot of deep serves here, which allowed me to come in the net really easily because I forced them to hit a short return. So you can see I really just like to punch those cross-court short angles on them right after that, just because I'm catching them off guard. And I'd say serving and returning is probably my favorite part with these paddles. Just able to control that point from the start. It's really a big game changer compared to my 16 millimeter. I felt like with a 16 millimeter, I had to kind of play around more, kind of build up my point a little quicker. So this 14 really just kind of felt like butter, how crisp it was whenever I got a good swing going. Overall, with this paddle, I really enjoyed using it. I might end up switching over from the 16 millimeter. I guess we'll just have to see as I play more. But honestly, the big pros and cons for me were serving and returning were definitely the big pros. I think the reset and kind of more defensive dead dinks, those were kind of more the cons for me. Mainly just as I play more, I think I'll get more control. But just initial hits off the paddle, felt like I wasn't able to get enough of that control to slow down that ball to place it where I want. You can see in some of these clips, I'm missing some of these drops that are fairly routine to me. So hopefully as I play more, I'll be able to kind of tone it in and, get more of these points going. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what paddles you guys are using, and let me know what paddle you guys want me to try next.